How do you decide what's worth fighting for? Well, how do I answer this today? How do you decide what's worth fighting for? You need to decide what you need to understand yourself first. You need to evaluate your priorities and what you want to do and what you want to get out of life in general. And how do you decide what's worth fighting for? Do you know your priorities? Do you know what you value? This is something that's going to come from inside. You can obviously shape it up a little bit, change it to a certain extent, make a conscious decision. Okay, I value this, I don't value that. But to a certain extent, there are things that are intrinsic. So they're giving you an intrinsic. You're intrinsically motivated to do them. All right. So what was I gonna say? Depression is starting to hit now. My thoughts are getting slower and slower and darker and darker. Okay, yeah, so once you know yourself, then you know what's worth fighting for. I didn't really give an answer to this. I'll try and fix it. I just got a bit distracted. So you know what is important to you, but you need to be very clear and you need to kind of prioritize. How do you do that? Then use philosophy, read books so you can clarify. Read all of, you know what's good for you? Read all of Plato's books. Listen to Socrates and Plato. Obviously, Plato, the way he wrote his books, most of them are about Socrates' dialogues with people. So he just had conversations with people. Okay, so these people, they will have different points of view, and then Socrates would just go to them and kind of examine them. Use the Socratic method. What's the Socratic method? Is basically like asking questions. Why? Let's see what Google says actually about the Socratic method before I make a very big mistake. The Socratic method. Argumentative dialogue based on asking and answering questions. Am I smart? I am. Ultra intelligent. This is the Socratic method. So this is what Socrates was doing. He's going to people, he started having conversations with them. Okay, so you believe this, all right. Yeah, why? Okay, but if that was the case, then, so you would say that this is that way then, yeah? And the person said, oh, no. So he started showing, he basically leads them to a point where they contradict themselves. And then they understand. Because if you can show someone that he's contradicting himself, then he's forced to face reality. He's forced to face reality. Because a lot of people can give crazy justifications for what they think and for their opinions and just beliefs. But if you can get them to a point where they contradict themselves, then they're kind of they've got their backs against the wall. Okay, so to know how to prioritize things, is good to read books like that. It's good to read Plato. This is obviously the ancient Greeks. These are classics. The texts are not very complicated. They're not very complex. They're simple. They're not using like a lot of abstract concepts and all of this. It's made simple. And the way it's written very simply. Everyone can understand it. If you sit down and you just read, and then you see how these guys, you see how they really try to structure their lives and their values, and that's why they're so important. They made an attempt to give some sort of structure to everything, to things that have no structure, to things that don't really exist, to ideas, to values. So that was very difficult, but that's why the all-time great Plato, Socrates, some of the greatest philosophers of all time. And you read them, the way they talk about on stuff like that, even just everything. Why would you value this above this? Is what did Plato say in one of the book? What was the question? The question was, is now I need to find it. It was I'll find it next time, because I'm gonna be here for a minute trying to work it out. Maybe next week I can read some of the texts and tell you some of the stories, because they're like stories. But yeah, read these guys, see the way they try to prioritize things, and that's gonna give you ideas, and you're gonna be, oh, that makes so much sense now. Now you can start making your thoughts and like priorities, values a bit clearer, because you saw how they did it. Because for most people, like having structure to your thoughts or like your values or priorities is a bit sounds a bit of a gray area. Sounds like when someone talks about things like that, they sound crazy. No one really does it, but it's good. It's good if you can have structure. Structure helps you. That's why when people building construction sites like buildings or whatever, you have scaffolds. You need scaffold. You need a scaffold before you can build, before you can go up, before you can go high. You first scaffold, because it's easier. Imagine building all these skyscrapers and whatever with no scaffold. How? With all these tall buildings, no scaffold. That's why it's the same thing. You use a scaffold when you think. And don't be afraid to try and give some structure to these things that are more like metaphysical. That's what philosophy does, to be honest, in short. So yeah, understand yourself, understand your priorities, and then you're gonna know. You'll know.